I asked Bob McCamey at the beginning before Mass started if we had any good eye-plucking, hand-cutting songs for today. He said he looked, he couldn't find them, okay? So let's make a pledge right now. No maiming ourselves. Okay, everybody's with me on that this was an exaggeration. It gets your attention, but obviously if we followed it, there would be a lot of us, well, all of us, limping around blindly, trying to figure out how to do things with one hand. So, in a sense, we have this gospel passage that can kind of get us distracted on that last part. Parents, you sent your kids downstairs today? That part was not in the children's liturgy of the Word. So, they're safe. So you're not going to have your kids coming back up wondering if they should do that kind of stuff. You see, the main part of this gospel message is a little bit different, and we're going to talk about that today. How many of you watched the papal Mass yesterday? Now see, if everybody had raised their hands, I could have just stopped and wouldn't have to do my homily. So, darn, yeah, I see a few extra people raising their hands now. So, in the papal Mass, it was a Mass for all the bishops and priests and religious. And I know, how many of you remember Deacon Jeff, who was here 2 years ago for about 4 months? Deacon Jeff, a wonderful guy, a deacon from Philadelphia. He was here on assignment, and he preached and he served here in our community. It was fantastic to have him. I was watching for him. And sure enough, as the camera panned over the crowd, how many of you saw him? He was sitting just about right where you are, Diane. He was about right here. And there he was, singing along, praying along in his stole and alb. And I thought, wow, we have this beautiful universal church, and we have this media that allows us to see how vast and wonderful it is. Here is the Pope in our country, in Philadelphia. Here I am watching it with my wife in Tacoma, and I see someone who I became friends with 2 years ago. It was wonderful. The universal church speaks to us with a voice of grace and a voice of faith. And as Deacon Jeff and the bishops and priests were sitting there listening to the Pope, now think about it. These are all clergy and religious and a scattering of lay people, but mainly the religious and the clergy. The Pope in his homily focused on a lay woman, Catherine Drexel, saint from Philadelphia. He focuses attention not on priests or bishops or deacons or sisters, brothers, monks and nuns. He focuses on a lay woman. Now, for you who don't know, Catherine Drexel came from a very wealthy family, millionaires of the day in Philadelphia society. And she was traveling in Europe as a young woman, and she got to meet, this is back in 1890, she got to meet the Pope, Pope Leo XIII. And she approaches Pope Leo and she says to him, "What are you going to do about the poor people in the United States? All these people who are struggling and suffering, immigrants, native peoples, what are you going to do? What's the church going to do?" And Pope Leo said something amazing. He gave her 2 words, et tu. Et tu means and you. Pope Leo said to this young, wealthy woman, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do?" And it absolutely undid her. She changed her entire life. She spent the rest of her life reaching out to people in need, spending her family's fortunes building schools and missions, orphanages. She did the thing that she was called to do. She looked into her heart and she changed the world. And we now call her Saint Catherine Drexel. She wasn't a saint because she was declared a saint. She was a saint because she answered the question, et tu, what will you do? She changed the world by changing herself first. Now, the reason I bring up the Pope's homily is because in today's gospel, in today's first reading, there was this spirit upon people who were not part of the inner community, not clergy or religious. These people were not in that inner circle, and yet they were doing the work of God, and it caused some jealousy. The inner circle with Moses complained about these two. Eldad, Bildad, complained about them. Why are they out there doing that? And John, representing the apostles, how come these people are doing this in your name? And Moses and Jesus are brilliant in the way that they approach that jealousy. Moses said, wouldn't it be great if everyone had that spirit? Wouldn't it be wonderful if everyone were to be a prophet speaking the truth? And Jesus said, those people who are not against us, they're for us. They can't do evil and at the same time do good. Let them do what they're called to do. My brothers and sisters, each and every one of us is in that situation. Through the merits of our baptism and our confirmation, we have all been given the Spirit. And the Spirit calls us in our own unique way to reach out and make a difference in this world. It might be by leading the For Us children, or by gathering together all our lectors and training them. It might be in St. Vincent de Paul. It's possible that it's in our sister parish program. There are all sorts of ways, from music to liturgy to serving, that each and every one of us is called to reach out with our talents to change our hearts and help transform our parish and our world. Catherine Drexel is a perfect example of it, that it's not up to our priest or deacon or bishop. We are the body of Christ. We are the church. And the church needs our hands, our heart, in order to be the hands and heart of the body of Christ, the church. Today, one of your fellow parishioners is going to talk a little bit about how that has changed his life, how it has shaped him. And after that, we'll have a moment to reflect on our own talents and calls and gifts and make our own commitment to continue to do that work, whether it's with beautiful photography or putting together our website or serving here inside these walls or beyond them. So I'd like to invite Rob Silva to come forward at this time and speak a little bit about his own call to service. And after that, I'll explain our talent cards. So Rob, thank you very much for saying yes.
Thank you, Deacon Bill. Before I start, I'd just like to say, if this doesn't go well for me, you should blame Kevin Lovejoy, our parish administrator. He's the one who asked me to do this, and he knew what he was getting. So, I've been a parishioner here at St. Patrick's for 15 years. And during that time, I've seen my brilliant son, Robbie, make his first communion here. I've seen him confirmed here. I've seen my beautiful daughter, Jessica, baptized here. Seen her make her first communion. I've knelt in these pews and prayed a rosary when I lost my mother in 2009 and when I lost my father in 2013. And throughout all of that, the parishioners of St. Patrick's have been here for me. You have been here for me. All the people who dedicate their time and talent to the ministries of this parish have made a difference in my life. They've made my life better. They've comforted me in difficult times, and they've made the joyous times all the more beautiful and memorable. And that's what happens when you have a group of people who share their talents. They have a huge impact on a lot of people. During my years here, I've been involved with several groups, both at the parish and at the school. And not all my stints with those groups have gone well. Some of them have been disastrous. And it reminded me of the Michael Jordan quote, that I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. So if you have any trepidation about joining the wrong ministry, just remember, it's not the army. You're not obligated long-term for a commitment. If you join a group and you find that it's not the right fit for you, you can always do something else. And we have a lot of different types of ministries here at St. Patrick's. We've got administrative, liturgical, sacramental, spiritual ministries. New this year, a Seahawk ministry dedicated to prayerfully viewing all the games and praying for the complete annihilation of our opponents in a loving Christian manner. True story. See our parish administrator, Kevin Lovejoy, for details on that. So please fill out your Stewardship of Talent card and find a ministry where you can use your strengths and make a difference. There are even some groups that are purely physical, requiring only a strong back, knowledge of garden tools, and a desire to improve the school grounds on Saturday, October 10th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Sorry, that's a shameless plug for one of the groups I'm involved in, which is the school groundskeeping session on October 10th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., double commitment hours. Please see me for details. In light of our new pastoral model with an increased emphasis on parishioner involvement, this is a terrific opportunity to become more involved, make the parish a stronger, more vibrant place, and exercise true leadership by serving others. So to wrap up, join a ministry and make a difference in someone's life. Be like Mike, get out there and fail. Use your strengths, share your talents, and most importantly, school groundskeeping session on Saturday, October 10th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thank you.